made it clear. I'm sorry, Councilmember Obringer.
Thank you. So first of all, I want to thank everybody who's here today and everyone who spent, 9 hours with us on January 7th. I know, I agree with you, Albert, we could all be doing many other things. So thank you to everybody who has been engaging in this process. As I said from this dais back in May 2022, when I voted alone to end the city's exclusive negotiating agreement with Concord First Partners, this is not easy. And this decision, this is extremely consequential, and I want everyone to know that I have listened to everything that everyone has communicated to me and have been deeply, deeply thoughtful. In fact, this is quite frankly taken over my life. And why? Because the community's hopes and dreams, my hopes and dreams for local work built by highly skilled workers, many of whom are in this room right now, affordable housing, as we've talked about, long-term living wage jobs, a new library, a veterans facility, a youth tournament sports complex, some kind of higher education campus. They're all riding on this project. And I passionately want this project to move forward. In fact, this was what inspired me to get involved in public service here in the city of Concord back in 2010. So anyone who thinks that I don't want this to get developed is dead wrong. But this has to be a world-class project. And, I do want to acknowledge the term sheet, it has been a good effort, but it does fall short on a few things. So basing, job assumptions on a campus that no one's investing in. I'm very concerned about the lack of equitable green space in North Concord. That might seem little to some people, but it is a big deal to the people of my city council district, especially since the proposal is to put the bulk of the high density and affordable housing, if you look at what's being proposed, to be concentrated there. That is not equitable. Also, the concern about not keeping with the 25% affordable housing. I understand the need to potentially add more housing, but affordable housing and promising this community the 25%, that is not negotiable here. And then the challenge, no concrete plan for multimodal transportation. I just don't see how we don't, we're going to be creating a car-dependent community from the very beginning, which is concerning. And I know that everybody keeps telling me, don't worry about the lawsuit. That has nothing to do with this. And ordinarily, I would agree. But this is a family company that we are going to be working with. And so family business is relevant to this. And I'm going to argue, I do think that this is one of the most important issues at play because it introduces risk and uncertainty, not to mention delay while all of this gets sorted out. And that is not time that we have. And why is this important? Because this involves, one of the 45% partners. And this is a multi-billion-dollar, decades-long project. So, and another thing I will just say, I find it concerning that this was not disclosed to the city. I really feel like the city should have known about this lawsuit, and we just found out about it, in the newspaper. So, I really think that what's been presented here is a false choice. Either we just move forward and keep kicking the can down the road and getting deeper and deeper and deeper into this, or all is going to be lost. And as I mentioned earlier, I ran into a council member from Alameda a few weeks ago at an event, and Alameda is on their 4th master developer. Their 4th, and they started before we did. So, the Navy has not lost patience, or the military has not lost patience with them. And I want to be crystal clear because I see a lot of my labor friends and supporters. I want to be crystal clear that the decision I'm making today, it has nothing to do with my commitment to working men and women. I have been and I always will be there for working men and women of this county. And I will ensure that whoever develops this project, it commits to a wall-to-wall project labor agreement. In fact, I'm one of the reasons that this was included in the RFQ in the first place, in the master developer selection process. So, and I just want to remind you that all 3 master developer candidates did sign a project labor agreement. So, but my main job as a council member is to protect the city from legal and financial risk. That is my job. And my job is to listen to the people of Concord and to my constituents, the people and their families who will be here long after the project is built, the people who live here, the people who've been here some people have been here for 90 years. And many of those people, they have not been able to attend a meeting. They weren't here on the 7th. They're not here today because they're out with their families. They might be working. But that is what I've been doing. And I want to assure everybody, again, I've read all the form letters that I got from, say, Mount Diablo. I took note as to who's a Concord resident or not. I read all of the form letters from labor as well. And I do want to acknowledge, too, there were members from labor who emailed me personally from my district. I've read all of those. But I've also read and want to recognize the hundreds of emails that I've received from Concord residents, people who I have never heard from when it comes to anything political, people who, honestly, I didn't even know were still alive. They took the time. They did, and they emailed me, and they let me know their thoughts, and I cannot ignore that. I cannot ignore that trust. When I reached out to people and I said, please tell me what you think, and they told me, and I asked about the term sheet. I said, tell me what you want me to do about the term sheet. And there is just deep distrust about moving forward at this time. So for these reasons, I'm not going to be voting to accept the term sheet, and I'm going to be moving to end the exclusive negotiating agreement with Concord First Partners. Thank you.